childcare is now what I call a kitchen table issue. It's really being discussed every day because of the chaos it's bringing. Parents and grandparents are being dragged in, and it's also impacting employers. We know we've got 1.2 million vacancies in the country, and parents are not able to work at full tilt, and they're telling us it's largely about childcare. So there's a few issues, but the first one is cost. We know that we are one of the highest, we have some of the highest childcare costs in the world, and we're trying to look at ways of bringing those costs down. The second thing is just bureaucracy, and we've got about 8 different schemes in this country. It costs the country between 5 and 6 billion quid, but none of the schemes are really sort of functioning well. So we're wanting to try and simplify matters, and in my view, make sure that we've got flexibility and parental choice. And then the third thing is this: the employers. Employers really want to make sure that they've got people working fully productive, and they want to provide the flexibility. But when the state's childcare schemes are not supporting that, in my view, things need to change.
And yes, I was really struck by the fact that our childcare system here is amongst the highest in the world. I think it's 3 times the OECD average, the cost of childcare here. And if you're a 2-parent family and you're out working and you need to access childcare, it is a real cost, actually in some cases the highest cost that a family can have. How can we tackle that, and why do you think the costs are so high here in the UK?
Yeah, so I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, we are. It's described to me as a second mortgage for many families, and actually a cost that parents just cannot afford to lose. So we know with cost of living, people are not going out for dinners. They're cutting the cloth slightly differently, but these are costs that are having to be spent and are rising. We've got a few different issues. Partly, we know that there's been sort of a 50% drop in childminders. There's been a number of closures for nurseries. So parents will tell us around the country provision is patchy, and the childcare sector is actually struggling to recruit itself, so their own costs are going up. We've got some really good schemes, some good offers. So we've got like sort of 3 hours, 15, 30 hours free, but the childcare sector are telling us that it's underfunded actually at their end, so they're having to put additional costs onto parents. And there's other schemes like the tax-free credits and things, and that's hugely underused because of the bureaucracy. Childcare provision of universal credit is only 13% of eligible parents are using that. So even though that's a good offer, parents are not able to take that up. So I think it's a bit of a myriad of things, but my main message to the Chancellor, unfortunately he's on the hook because he's got the next big event with the spring budget, is you cannot say nothing about this. And while I completely understand that there's not a lot of money flying around at the moment, and we've seen the borrowing figures recently, this is something that we absolutely do need to think about and tackle.
And finally, Siobhan, I mean, this isn't just about families. It isn't just about providing care. It's about economic growth, isn't it? Because we want people to be able to go to work and have their children in safe childcare. Liz Truss recognised that. She's seen it as one of the 8 supply chain changes that needed to be made. Do you think the Chancellor and, importantly, the Prime Minister get it, that they recognise that childcare is an important issue? And you've already said that you're going to keep on battling for this. I'm with you on that, having had 3 children of my own and knowing what it's like to deal with childcare. It is such a critical issue, isn't it, Siobhan?
Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, and when it goes wrong, I tried to take my daughter to nursery on the way to Parliament the other day, and they turned her away because she had gunky eyes. And I just stood there and said, "I've got to go to a select committee." It really is, and that's happening day in and day out for lots of different problems, not just illness with a little one. But it's a real issue. I think whenever we get to a stage where both parents need to work to pay a mortgage, to pay rates, to pay fees or bills, we're always going to need to have some form of childcare support. So in my view, it's got to work. I do think the government and the individual ministers, as high as the Chancellor and the PM, understand this. Liz Truss spent years and years working on this and does really care. People understand it, but it's whether we can get to the point where we've got a really good package to show the changes. So yeah, thanks for giving the support and the pressure here as well.
We'll be watching if you're successful in March when the budget comes out. Thanks, Siobhan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.